All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, and honor and salutation to those of you who are of the hope and elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so I wanted to add my 2 cents on I don't even know what he's calling himself on his channel name, but I know the man as Patrick. That's how I know the man. That's what I met him as. He wasn't around long enough for us to christen him, if you will, with a Christian. I mean, with a Christian name, with a Hebrew name. But in any case, I wanted to speak about him just a bit. I was gonna touch on a bunch of different things, but after watching the Elder Adama's show, he's pretty much said everything there was to say about the guy. Um, but I wanted to touch on something a little different. And along with that, I wanted to talk about this other guy who was going back and forth with the Elder Menata Zagba on the Elder Adama's channel um, regarding this mushroom thing. Um, he made a comment about, basically saying we caping for women because, the Elder Adama talked about how disgusting, how disgusting this guy Patrick was on one of his videos. I mean, just to give my own personal testimony on it, there was a video that he had done speaking to like they were basically it reminded me of the scene in Rush Hour where they kind of unveiled the different women and Chris Tucker was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have you. Ooh, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna have you." And it was like that, but a little more extra than Chris Tucker was being, and you know, it was what it was, right? Um, and the elder Adama expressed it was disgusting because it was, man. It didn't have nothing to do with the truth. And so I was thinking about it, and I said, what would make someone uh, someone do that, right? What would make somebody so concerned about that? Because as the elder said, the one thing that this man's wife had a problem with was Isaiah 4:1. But I perceived that it wasn't so much her problem as it was him always talking about it, right? Because a lot of times, um, these guys that come around in the truth are are insecure people in a lot of different ways, right? And I myself have been a square all my life, if you will, right? I haven't been with hundreds of women. I haven't, I was never the coolest guy in school and what have you, right? I was, I guess in the pack, but I wasn't, the coolest guy. Um, so I know what it's like to hear about the truth, right? And think that or it will help. It'll make you to justify your shortcomings in that department, in those departments, and say, oh, this is why I wasn't cool. Esau's fucking with me now. I got a chance to, be with a bunch of different girls. I got a chance to, be manly and feel manly. And though I don't necessarily agree with it, I understand why a person would do that, right? And it's really a mental issue, man. And be like, and I was thinking about this. And I always think about this. Like, what makes Esau so wicked is his his for lack of a better word, inability, right? The only thing that could make someone be as wicked as Esau is, and I'm speaking as a man, and I'm speaking, to the psychology part of it. Um, is when you're in a group of folk, like, what's popular today in pop culture. And I know I'm gonna ramble and I don't have much time, but Lord's will, I'll do a second part to this, because I really want to say all of this. What's popular in pop culture today is this documentary that has come out about the Chicago Bulls and their the last dance, I think it's called. And what the documentary is outlining was the last year that the Chicago Bulls were together, as they were winning championships with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, at the head of it, right? And from watching the first two episodes, and from what you learned throughout the experience of this happening, this guy Kraus, I think his name was like a little demon, right? What could possess a man who is winning, right? Who wanted the job as general manager so that he can put together a team and win, and is now winning, but would disband what's going on. What would make someone do that? And there was an envy in that man. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his face. I'm watching this documentary, and I said that he's nothing more than an envious Edomite, man. And a lot of these guys in these offices for these professional sports are guys who never made the football team, never made the basketball team, right? Never got the girl, short, fat, right? Danny DeVito looking motherfuckers. You know, these men, they grow up, right, and they become the boss in the front office, right? And he allowed his envy, right, and him not getting the credit that he felt he deserved for the championships, made him want to disband the team, right? From what I see so far. And this guy Patrick is no different, man. He was a kid who grew up, probably wasn't that cool. He got a funny, you can hear him when he talks. If for those of you who've watched his videos before, got a funny sounding voice, right? Not the most imposing guy, right? He's not a short guy, but he's not the most physically imposing guy, right? So these people, they grow up and they latch on to the truth because it makes them feel strong. It makes them feel powerful. It makes them, and it justifies, oh, I was this way because I didn't have the truth. Now I'm strong. I can be stronger. I feel good. And they taint the truth with their insecurities, right? So you had this guy, he finally got himself a girlfriend, right? And he trying to talk shit to her. Oh, but when I'm a man, I'm gonna have many wives. You're not gonna be the only one. And he probably was talking about this to this woman every single day, and she probably was like, look at this guy. He's a simp, but he's telling me he gonna have different. He ain't not with me. And that was why it was her problem, not because it was a problem in general. Like, I don't know this woman, right? But not because it was a problem in general. This is just my assumption, but more so because this insecure little man was making these were making these comments to her, and she didn't like it, man. She didn't like it, you know. And that's what you had. That's what, like, what you seeing today, right? With this guy making this video about the manna being mushrooms and GMS are a bunch of hypocrites and they're a bunch of hyenas and what have you. These are what you call delusions of grandeur. He thinks in his mind that he's right, and there's nothing you can say to him to make him change his mind, because he is indeed delusional, right? So I want to read this real quick, and then I'll hit this couple of scriptures. I look like I got a few more minutes. Right, so this says, a delusion of grandeur is the false belief in one's own superiority, greatness, or intelligence. People experiencing delusions of grandeur do not just have high self-esteem. Instead, They believe in their own greatness and importance, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Right? And this is the problem. This is why the scriptures tell us this. Matter of fact, let me go to it. Go to this scripture. Come on. Stop fucking with me here. Come on. Come on. Why is it doing this? Here we go. Come on now. I ain't got that much time here. I think it's John 6:63. 8 and 32. I'm getting it mixed up. This is John 8 and 32. It says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Now, that's not just talking about the truth in regards to, our practice, right? Because we call our practice our ministry. We call it the truth. It's not only talking about that. It's talking about truth, period. Telling the truth and accepting the truth, right? And when you accept the fact that you're a square, when you accept the fact that I ain't the top level guy, then you can start to come to terms with it, and you can grow from it. You can grow out of it, right? But when you're trying to deny it, what happens is you compensate, and you go out into the world saying and doing things so that people don't know you're a square, when really it's just you make it worse. You compile onto your shortcomings by trying to hide them, man. And that's what's going on with this man. This is what's happening with this guy. He is having or experiencing delusions of grandeur, right? So I wanted to go to this. I read this article, and I got a couple of scriptures. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a bit of this article here, and then I'm gonna, in the second part, go to the scriptures that I wanted to go to. Okay. So it says this is from Healthline. What are delusions of grandeur? It says overview. A delusion is a false belief held by a person. It contradicts reality or what is commonly considered true. The strength of a delusion is based on how much the person believes it. Specifically, a delusion of grandeur is a person's belief that they are someone other than who they are, such as a supernatural figure or a celebrity. A delusion of grandeur may also be a belief that they have special abilities, possessions, or powers. Delusions are generally the result of a mental health disorder. However, not all people with delusions meet the full diagnostic criteria for any mental health disorder. Okay, it says many types of mental health disorders classified as psychotic disorders can lead to delusions. These include schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, dementia, delirium, right? Major depressive disorder with psychotic features, which basically all of these things you can get from, taking psychedelic drugs. So he probably eating these goddamn shrooms, right? And it's making him feel powerful, man. How can this dude? He's a nuisance, man. He's like a little gnat, you know, right? So I'm gonna stop here, but you know what? I was thinking while I was reading that, instead of doing two parts, I'm gonna film again and sew them together in post production, and that way it'll be just one video. But for this part, I say shalom. Yeah. So ultimately, what you have is people who are insecure and willing to do anything to hide those insecurities, or to make it seem as though they're not insecure. They want to. Jake really, Esau did a number on us, man, because we want the feeling of being important, and we want the feeling of being special and on top in the guy. And when we find something to latch on to feel that way, you fall victim to you know just bringing yourself to say anything, right? So I wanted to get into some scriptures because a couple things were said um, by this other cat too, Isaiah. I think 30. I don't know the nigga's name, the channel name, but he was running his mouth a little bit too concerning he said that we basically saying that we caping for women. When the elder Adama said that the guy Patrick show was a little disgusting. And as the elderman Natazakba said, one thing we don't do over here as at GMS is spare the feelings of anyone for that matter, but especially not the woman who you know who's been hand in hand with Esau. So without further ado, I'm gonna read these scriptures here. Doesn't need to be much longer than I'm trying to make it here. Let's go here. Oh shit. Bear with me for a second here. Forgot to set this bad boy up. One second. Alright. Refresh this. Alright, so this is Philippians 2 and 14. It says, do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world, right? So, a part of being in the truth is, making sure that we are, respectable people. I think a lot of times we get into the truth and think that we don't have to, answer to the people that are in the world, but the scriptures say otherwise, man. The scriptures talk about us being blameless to them that are without, because this truth is about building character, right? If you want to be the same nigga you was in the world, what's the point, you know? So it's about carrying yourself in a certain manner, so that when things do arise, there's a scripture in the Apocrypha, I can't remember exactly where it is, but it says something along the lines of this: when you have a friend, to go the extra mile for that friend, right? So that when your relationship goes awry and he starts talking about you in a bad way, that the people will look at him like, nah, because I saw that man do everything for you, right? And that scripture always sticks out to me, because it speaks to going above and beyond and doing all you can to be looked at in a certain light, to be looked at, not, let me not say certain, let me be more specific, to be looked at in a good light, you know. So that matters, man. But people, just like this guy Izar, who was in our camp, he confessed that, he thought that being a part of GMS, he could just be a nigga and say whatever he wanted to say, right? But he found out very quickly that he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. And every time we got on him and we rebuked him for it, his spirit didn't sit right with him, because that's what his intent was, to come out and be an asshole and not have any tact. You know, being in his truth, man, you learn how to be tactile. You know. All right, so let me go to this next scripture here. This is 1 Timothy 6:3. It says, if any man teach otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. See, it says here, talking about perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, destitute of the truth. Right? The Lord made it easy for us. He gave us the word to speak. We don't got to do anything special. All we got to do is teach the word, man. Roll out the red carpet for the Lord Yahweh Shai. That's our only job, man. He made it easy for us. We don't got to do anything extra. You're going to get your perks and bonuses, if you will, right? Being a man of the Lord. If the Lord sees fit that you make it on the other side, you're going to be rewarded with women. You're going to be rewarded with, riches and castles and land, and you're gonna be rewarded with all those things. But that's not what this thing is about, man. In the kingdom, yeah, I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that. You don't. The truth ain't about that, man. The truth ain't about that. And a lot of again, people have this is why the scriptures say this. Matter of fact, let me go to it. Uh, uh, I think this is the one I want. This is Revelation 10:9. It says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. Right? Because the truth, when you first get that little taste of it, man, it's sweet, man. But then when people start realizing that there are expectations, when people start realizing that there are conditions that they must follow to be in this thing, they lose their shit, man. They lose their shit. A lot of these guys are just spoiled brats that was raised by their mother, and they can cry a little bit, and their mother give them the donut that they was asking for, right? And they've never had any discipline. They never had to have any self-discipline, man. So anytime somebody says something to them, they go off the fucking deep end, man. Now GMS is a bunch of hypocrites and so forth and so on. But really, you a misfit, man. You a misfit, you know. And ultimately, the Lord is gonna, deal with what you're doing, spreading confusion in Israel, man. And the scriptures speak about, and like I was trying not to, speak to anything that any of the other brothers said, not to beat a dead horse, but like, the scriptures talk about witchcraft and, divination and people that, when people did those things in those times, they were using drugs that would put people into psychosis, man. When you go into it. So why would we use that, or why would the Lord use that to give us spiritual power? The Lord don't need nothing, man. If the Lord can turn stones into the children of Abraham, then He can damn sure give us spiritual power without us eating some goddamn mushrooms, man. You know. So let me go to this next scripture here, and this should be the last one. This is Colossians 4:5. It says, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Let your speech let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. Right? And this is what the elder was talking about, man. You know, and you can see it. Like I remember the guy, man. We every anytime we got into talking about the women in at any capacity, he would be sitting over there with that big smile from ear to ear, shaking his head. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind. You know, that's not what this truth is about, man. You can go get women now. And like, granted, you'll deal with a shitload of trouble, but you can have a woman now, man. You know, but whatever, man. That's all I had to say. Um, you know, like for one, stop saying double honors to the elders and apostles, and then blatantly disrespecting the men that they've set up to be, elders over these churches, man. There wasn't an accident that the brother Amawan Gabar, the elder Amawan Gabar, um, had to speak to you, man, and rebuke you. That's not an accident. The elder apostles set up certain men to be, under them in a position of authority to keep decency in these churches, man, in these camps. And if you're not gonna, you're not gonna fall in line under that order, you feel like you don't have to do that, then stop praising the elder apostles. That's funny how he said that, GMS is a bunch of hypocrites, but you give double honors to the elders and apostles, but then on the back end, are disobedient to somebody that they set up, as an elder in Israel, man. Excuse me. So who's really the hypocrite? You know. So that's one, and two. You really weren't built for this, man. And we saw it in you then. That's why we never bothered to bring you in. You got the the staff in your hand. You got your wife all out there, and she was out there with, had a, one time she came out with her legs all out and whatnot in front of, the, group of men, you know. So I don't know, man. Go. I don't know. You can't play basketball right now because Esau got everything sold up. You got them 2x4s on the rims. I will go tell you to play basketball or something, but can't do that. Jake out here going crazy, man. Hopefully, Esau open up the Boys and Girls Club or something, so people can get that, that thing off. Sometimes you be sitting in the house, you get pent up, man. You need to go do some push-ups or something, man. Go for a jog, or get you one of them pull-up bars that you can hang on the doorway. Just go at it, man, because you obviously got pent-up energy, and you out here just thinking of shit to talk about. Just thinking of shit to talk about, man. Go sit down somewhere. Go watch Netflix, or they got Hulu out there. They got all different kinds of things to tickle your fancy. Until Esau, until Esau open up the the Boys and Girls Club back, or the YMCA, whatever it is, man. Go for a walk, man. You're doing too much. All right, so with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Chag double honors to the elders and apostles, the GMS who rule well, honor and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, we say shalom.